What is going on? You.
See the finger?
Hey now. Family
This
show.
is a family show. I was waiting for that.
IRP 154. If you can tell from the placeholder, I think it's about the 5th time we've used this placeholder.
Not to blame anybody.
No.
No, I'm being serious. We're actually blaming some people.
Yes.
But that's okay, because we still love the guys.
Yeah.
We still love them. We will always love them. OG representing, still going strong. So, anyways,
when you
sorry, Dave.
You cancel the show appearances for us because you got to take Tyson out to figure out how to get a wardrobe that is in sync. You either wear a polo and like slacks, or maybe some nice dress shorts, or you wear a tank top and then the gym shorts. You don't wear a polo and gym shorts. That's what we call a homeless look. But I mean, if you go to school for 10 years, I mean, that might be what you learned. And if that's what you learned, I mean, that's an education well spent. So finally tonight, the guys are.
Well, one half currently, the other half will probably be joining.
Yes,
a little later. He's got daddy duty, so that's okay. That's okay.
We always
this guy doesn't have an excuse. Like, he's not busy or anything. I mean, what
no, he ain't doing nothing. He's got more time than a Coleco or whatever Seiko stopwatch. So he's got as much time as a sundial. So if we could have him on every week, we would. But
yes,
I
would.
I don't know if I'd want to listen to that much fantasy football. That in depth of a breakdown, I'd like to listen to some. But when you're trading a 2026 15th round pick for a backup kicker, I'm like, whoa, hold on. Even I have to like pump the brakes a little.
Well, the joys of a dynasty league. So
this is true. It's a whole different beast, and it's a fun type of beast because it's something where you just don't think for the year unless you're AEW all in. But so without
don't say it.
Further ado, Hall of Fame time's coming, people. You're gonna hear it every fucking video. Welcome back to the IRP, Mr. Ryan Bannister, RBICru7.
Hola, how's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Wonderful.
Doing good? Yeah, well, for the record, Tyson wishes he went to school for 10 years in college. I think it was like 15 to 17, if I'm correct. It took him just to get a basic bachelor's degree. So,
Hey, I wasn't that far off. I was on the 10-year program.
Well, I think you were closer to 10 and not 20.
Okay, it was 12.
Okay, well.
But in all fairness, let me just give you a synopsis. Got a divorce, lost my house, lost my job, had a baby in the last 6 years of that whole excursion. Pretty damn good excuse. Not to mention I was working 50 plus hours a week when I finally started working again.
Yeah, you got it done. It's like those your curveballs, and you just got to run with it, you know. So
I don't think Tyson had any of that on his itinerary.
I don't think any of everything you just mentioned was not on his itinerary of his life. So, but we're happy to have him. But I'm happy to be back. Thank you guys. We scheduled this. Neil was on board. I was on board, and then something came up, and then luckily it changed. I messaged Dave about an hour ago, and I said I think I can squeeze 30 to 45 minutes tonight. We're leaving in a couple days for a little 4-day vacation. Parker's on fall break, so we're going to take a little getaway with the family. But get things in order. I wanted to hang on my friends. So everybody's good? Glad. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Like we've mentioned before, anytime. And again, your time is obviously valuable with the business, the family, everything going on in life. It's just like everybody else. Time is very precious. So we thank you.
Very precious. No, I like to say, anytime I can make extra time, I'm going to do it for you guys. And again, I'm happy to be here. So let's go. Let's chat. I got about 30, 40 minutes, I think, on the dock before I got to help put the kids down. So let's hang out.
I do have one thing to say before Dave kind of dives into where we're headed in this conversation.
Sure.
I'll at least say it because you would never see it, but you know how I am. Dave ended up copying and pasting your message saying that there was a good possibility that you wouldn't be able to make it. And I'm like, yeah, Shannon sounds like she communicates as well as my wife does. And I mean that with all the love and respect in the world. We love Shannon. Shannon's been around a long time.
She has, yeah.
So Shannon knows of us, at least me and Dave, at least.
Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah, no. Basically, she actually got a lot packed today, which is nice because the kids were at school, so I didn't have to help as much. I got to do my laundry, but then she was like, "Hey, let's carve pumpkins tonight." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "Okay." And then we have 3 big pumpkins, and we're eating dinner. And she's like, I'm just too tired. Like, what about we do it tomorrow night? I was like, how about we do it Sunday, like afternoon, we get back from our trip? She's like, okay, that works. I'm like, with that being said, can I spare 30 to 40 minutes now? And she's like, oh, okay. But I said, look, I will hop on so the kids are settled with their iPads and relaxing. And I helped out with getting the kids fed and everything while she did some stuff upstairs. So it worked out. It actually worked out great. And Neil has an excuse. He just has 1 kid. I got 3, so I don't know what his excuse is right now. Just why he can't.
Much younger. Much younger.
He's much older too. So
see, there you go. It's the double-edged sword for him.
Yeah, it is. He started a lot later than I did, and I started late too.
So Dave, let's hit him because I know a lot of this stuff has been brewing for some time.
Business Nationals. How was business at the National? You tell everyone. We talked a little, I think, Saturday before we parted company. Your synopsis of National 2023, because again, we're drawing that national conversation. We're drawing it out till next year for topics. So
National obviously record setting again, which was crazy to think. I would say my synopsis of it is that the hobby is much healthier now than it was years past. I think people are more wiser with their spending. They're wanting more quality than, let's be honest, base slab quantity. Thank God that's finally, that fad's gone away because best cards should never go with anything. But overall, we were blown away again. My plan worked. I'm big on Trevor Lawrence. I bought a lot of him. I did very well. He's the reason why we broke records again. I will have to say that, but overall, the hobby is really going to all directions. What we know, so you guys were there. You're at booth multiple times, our booths, and we're very diverse. We got a little bit of something for everybody, and we wanted to make sure that we tackled any potential customer we had. Obviously, we don't do Pokemon really, but you saw the wrestling cases. We had non-sports. We had all the major sports, even some hockey in there, even soccer. We wanted to gear towards all that. I always had a game plan, and I'll start tackling that at the beginning of the year for National. But I think we executed it perfectly this year. We're truly blessed to how well we did. Again, the way they had the setup this year, the whole National, I would say it was more like a maze to figure out where you were going than in years past. So we were in a normal spot, as you guys know, but it was kind of almost hidden because you couldn't see over wild card of all friggin' places, wild card crap. All the other stuff you couldn't see over anything, but it didn't seem to affect. I don't think there were some bad spots, meaning like super hot spots, because I don't know if you guys remember how much the heat was. Yeah, so they got the fans out for that, but overall, amazing. It was just great seeing so many people. They just need to go to Chicago every year. I'm glad that and we'll probably talk a little bit about the voting process and how we're not going to Atlantic City ever again. I'm happy to answer any of that, which I'm excited about. But yeah, it was awesome, man. It was great seeing all you guys as well. It's been too long, and that was probably one of my favorite things, was just kind of seeing you guys and so many familiar faces that just you don't get to see often anymore.
Yeah, 12 years when we were chatting about it. Originally, it was like Yeah, let's not do this again. Let's not wait another decade. And when I started looking back, I was like, guys, it was 12 years ago.
It was 12 years ago. So it's great.
Yeah, and for me, it was a long 10 months or so.
Yeah,
10 and a
yeah.
half.
When you saw me when you came in for Michael's wedding.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you again.
Baz here has your view of the hobby, sales, and momentum since the national, especially last month and a half, 2 months.
Okay. You asking me? Is that what it is? Yeah, basically. So obviously, there's always that downtick after the national, the hype, obviously around the quarterbacks, around so many things. Obviously, leading up to the national, I think everybody's so amped up and loves cards, and everybody's excited. And then I think we all leave, we go back to life. Well, this is what I tell people, as a business, from where we stand at, September and October are traditionally two of the worst months of the year for a business. That is very common. September, we were a little concerned about September with the online sales. Luckily, we weathered the storm that was horrific the last year, September. But again, you're going to see that downtick. And I think a lot has to do with, end of the year vacationing, school starting back up, sports betting, fantasy football, which, I could talk days about. But, there's so many things, all the sports that kids play too. Think about that. Everything's all hitting at once: soccer, baseball, football, and basketball. I mean, there's so many things going on. And I think that affects it and changes the market of everything. So again, we're used to seeing this. I think things have gone back to the way they used to be pre-COVID, where everybody that's coming to cards post-COVID or during COVID thinks the sky's falling, that the cards industry is done because cards are doing this. Well, guys and girls, this has been this way forever. This is nothing new to all of us that have been in the cards for so long. So from a business standpoint, yes, we do see a downtick, but I can tell you, my goal is to grow the shop locally. Our transactions are up, sales are up, everything's in a healthy direction, but I can't say that's the same for across the country because I talked to several shop owners and everything of that nature, breakers saying it's slower right now. This is normal. I knew this was coming, mentally prepared for it, and I'm okay because guess what's coming next? The crazy end of the year with Black Friday to the end of the year, which November and December are just insane, and January is always a really good one too. So.
Well, I wanted to add something to this because I happened to catch. It's been a little bit. Dave has done better than I have, but I did catch the most recent Kicking It with the Crew episode.
Okay.
I did catch that today because I knew at least we were going to have one of you on, so I wanted to be able to at least touch on that just a bit. But you brought up the free pack Sunday promotion that you guys started doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you touched on, compared to like last week to this week, you touched on like what packs you were giving away, what was pulled. And if I'm not mistaken, and keep me honest, because I did listen to it earlier today in between like conference calls and everything else, so I may have missed specifics. But it's all about giving you support though too. That's what we do here. That's what community is about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But this past Sunday, you did more transactions.
Yes.
This past Sunday than you did the previous week because of the free pack giveaway Sunday promotion that you guys have been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's continued to grow. That was basically fourth Sunday, so I guess third week straight or whatever. We knew going into football season, we were going to be, Sundays were going to hurt. We get it. Then the first Sunday of the season was like, wow, this is like a Tuesday in the shop, but worse, and I'm like, well, it's football, it'll get better. And then it got a little better. And I'm like, all right, well, then the third Sunday got better again, but I'm still like, we need to get back to the numbers we were doing pre, the National Football League season. And I just started, Neil and I just in the office, and obviously we put our headphones at work, but we do try to bounce ideas. And I said, what about this idea? What if we try this out and see what it can do? And it's really taken off like wildfire. Again, this is the fourth week. I think let me actually find you the statistics real quick of how many packs we gave out in each week. Give me 1 second. I can locate this.
Yeah,
remember
this past Sunday was pushing close to 200, like 170.
It was so the first week was 119 packs. We gave away 23 Elite Football Hobby, which we wanted to kick it off with a bang. Those are $14, $15 pack cards. Gave away 119, and this is on Sunday. We're only open 10 to 5, and we announced that earlier in the week. Second week was it Allen and Ginter? Yeah, it was Allen and Ginter. We did 112. The week after that was Topps Update Hobby. No, it wasn't that. What was the one we did? I'm losing my releases here. I don't remember. What was the other one? Was it Top? It was Top. Sorry. So it was Ginter that was Tops. That week we gave away 130, but this past week was the Bowman University. We gave away 151 packs. So that right there tells you 151 people, families included, with kids who get free packs too, came in order on a Sunday. We did over 100 transactions this past Sunday, which Saturday was a big day, and we did like 70 or 80 transactions. So Saturday's the busiest day of the week. We had to figure out something to do to really get people to want to get away off their couch and watch football. Because let's be honest, I want to watch football. It's my one day off. I don't want to get up and not watch football. So kind of gives people an incentive to just come to the shop. They said that, we'll be busy up till kickoff, slow down, and then all of a sudden, like they said, there's just a massive wait later in the day. And I'll tune in on the cameras. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 35 people in my store right now. What's going on? And it's been great to see. And I've reached out to several shops and kind of said, hey, this is working for us. I don't know what you guys are doing with on Sundays right now. I know we're going up against football, but let me show you these numbers, and I'm happy to share how I do it and how I calculate it to where it's not as it's more cost efficient the way I run my numbers and kind of tweak everything as a whole. So you're giving away value. Yes, you're giving away, what are we selling them? I'm trying to think, what are we selling? $6-7 a pack on the Bowman Chrome. I mean, $6 a pack, we're selling boxes for 115. Gave away this week was almost 7 boxes. I mean, do the math.
Almost $1,000.
Exactly. But that's $1,000 in value, not based on what we paid for it. However,
correct.
We buy enough volume, and I'll just give you a little math equation here. All I do is I take the overall number we spent and say I have 300 units of that product. Let's just throw it out there. Well, then I gave away 7 boxes. I'll tweak my overall cost of average up. So I'll be into everything else a little bit more by giving away that to people. So to me, it's not as much of a sting in my eyes. And it's easier that I can go to my CPA and say I gave these out and everything like that, which could get kind of ugly over time. So to me, it's like I buy enough volume that I can give that away, then raise up my initial cost average on everything else. And it's not like I'm still making money on that stuff. So to me, it's my way of computing to give out to people without really coming too much from our pockets in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I would recommend to shops. They have enough to do. And obviously we want to keep it all hobby products because we're a hobby shop. Yes, we carry retail, but we want to give you incentive. We want you to come in. We want you to like, ooh, I want to rip that. So obviously every week I'm like, what are we looking at releases that we can do that has enough packs? We need to have something that has 20 to 24 packs, give or take in it. I would love to done Upper Deck Series 1 hockey this past week, but they shortened it to 12 packs. And I'm like, can't really get around that. You need to be in the 20-24 range.
Yeah. So in other words, instead of making a 20% margin on something, you may drop it to 18% to cover the cost basis.
I mean, I wouldn't get 20% much anymore.
But you get what?
Yeah. I surrender a little bit of, profit by getting people in my store, but also, man, we had the Caleb Williams orange on-card auto to 25 pulled by a kid. The dad messaged us. He's like, you're not gonna believe this. My son pulled this out of your free pack. Thank you so much. I was like, that's what I want to hear. Best part is I want to see kids come in. I think it's a great thing when kids get free packs. So obviously we've had a lot of people says it's just going to be football. I'm like, no, we probably may do a Pokemon one day, because we get kids in there. Pokemon would be great because you get 36 packs a box. So I can really, give out, more packs and less money out of my pocket per se. So again, I just want to get people in the door. I want them to go to the hobby shops. We're big on that. I can't wait for the Topps MVP buyback to kick in because we're obviously on board on that. We're ready to rock and roll when they make that announcement. If you guys recall the Topps MVP buyback last year, which was a massive thing, we turned in almost $40,000 in those cards to ComC last year. That's how much we took in. And we're hoping to do even more this year. Again, last year had Goldsmiths, so being St. Louis, they were all over. But any way we could do to continue to give back to the collector in any way, shape, or form is always my goal. So thank you for bringing that up, because I'm really excited how well it's performed, and I look forward to every Friday, Saturday going, okay, this is what we're giving away.
Well, and to kind of add to that, though, that's something, though, that you've always tried to, I won't say think outside the box, but at the bare minimum, you are a business. The goal of every business is to turn a profit.
Mm-hmm.
You consistently come up with ways to drive business to the shop. And the more and more you think about things, and to make it even, what I think even more badass, is that you're willing to share that with other people.
Absolutely.
And
always,
because there's a lot of people out there, like let's face it, there's a lot of shop owners out there that are like, okay, we've come up with this great idea and it's, let's say, doubled our business. You think they're going to share that with other people? 95% of them are not.
No, they're not. Sorry, my little one. What are you doing, bub? Sorry. What do you got cookies for? Sorry, my youngest is trying to get in the door. Yeah, push. Yeah, sorry. It's just cute. If you guys can see him right now, it's hilarious. But basically, yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I talk to so many shops, and we're all bouncing ideas off one another. But any way that I can, share the knowledge of anything, and guys, I'll be, completely honest with you guys. There's nothing to hide, and I'm not. I want every shop. I support shops here 20 minutes away from me, 10 minutes away from me. I'm close to all these guys. I think that's a lot to do with, the Midwest mentality, but we're all kind of looking forward to help one another across this country in any way to make this hobby better in any way, shape, or form. Because I think, again, I still feel like hobby shops are still the backbone for the growth of this industry. I think I could say I'm assuming all you guys got your way into the hobby at some point by going into a hobby shop. That takes us back to our generations. Now with social media and online and everything like that, there's not a hobby shop everywhere, but I remember growing up as a kid and wanting to go to hobby shops like every day, so, I think it's going to continue to grow, but I just want people to do things. I hope that everybody does it with a good mindset and does it the right way. I'm not saying what we do is all the right way, but I think we've done things what we feel is the right way over the years, and we want to continue to, grow upon that. It's not even about making money. I lose a lot of products, especially Black Friday time. It's more of like, I look at everything as a community, like a whole. Like, okay, we sold this much. Yes, we lost here, but we gained here. I'm running a business, yes, but anyway, I can take money out of my pocket to grow this hobby, to grow more collectors locally and not locally. It's just great.
Sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but it's, when he opens his mouth, sometimes things come to the brain, and I don't want to lose them. So,
with the free giveaway too, you might get some more sales just based off of, well, hey, I wanted to open that, I wanted to bust that, but I don't want to spend that initial. And again, people out there might laugh and chuckle, oh, it's $15 for an elite pack. A lot of us grew up and it was $4 or $5 was like the most for a pack.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
At that time, you're thinking like, man, that's a shit ton of money. So now, again, like you said, people have jobs, people have bills, mortgages, car payments, kids in sports, family vacations. They're not going to just be like, oh, $15 for this. If you're single and you can do that, fine. But you give that away, somebody pulls something nice, you're like, man, I like that. Yeah. Maybe this will be a drop, whatever a box goes for. I'll drop a bunch of money on that. So again, just introducing the people to something that they might not normally go down that road of collecting too. Because football guys, yeah, oh great. Well, here's Ginter. Well, I've heard about this for years. I've never busted it. Let's see what it's about.
Can get really somebody hooked on it too, for sure.
So, has anybody taken your advice with this yet, or like the Indie Card Exchange guys? I know you talk about them quite a bit. Anybody outside your normal realm of people we hear about on your Kicking It with the Crew podcast that drops every Monday?
Appreciate the plug.
Hey, so we do. We try to give back to the community.
Yeah, as far as other people, so obviously nobody's really reached out per se, but I've shared that with Obviously, you mentioned Indie Card Exchange, Louisville Sports Cards, Card Collector 2 is another one, Sports Card Junction, and Jameel Millie Pops. Those are the ones I've shared kind of how this is going and how this is working. And I'm like, if you guys are looking for ways to get people in, I'm telling you, we're now 4 weeks in and it's growing. I'm asking my staff who's working every Sunday, what are you guys' thoughts? I'm like, God, man, this is just more and more people coming in every week. And it's growing. And it's the point where I was like, well, do we need to bring on another person to work that day? And basically he's like, we're close. I think we can still do it with the core guys we have, but if it continues to do well, yes. But with going to the holidays, we're always going to carry more on the weekends, no matter what. We're going to carry 1 or 2 extra people. So, again, I'm glad it's working out, and it's more or less, again, like you said, getting people more into the hobby, more into ripping something they never thought they'd rip before, and getting them educated at the same time. And and we're, like I said, people walking in. I asked them, most people like at least getting something, and they said almost everybody's buying something while they're here after they got their free pack. And I get it. There's freeloaders. I get it, and that's what the nature of the beast. You're going to get people that, cool, thanks, bye. I'll see you next Sunday for my free pack. I get it. I don't know if that's ultimately happening, but it's inevitable. And this is, in life, and I'm okay. And I get it. I have to accept that. My point is, to me, how I look at it, you're taking away from a kid. Like, we could have gave that to another kid, and yet you're an adult taking a free pack and going. That's, again, I think everybody's spending, and that's the point. Like, we want you to support us. We want to support you as you support us,
Yeah, there's a thing called karma, though.
Now there is. Oh, yes, there is. There's a great thing called
there.
karma. There's a great thing called karma.
We got another question from Baz at this. And, how much of your revenue is driven from new product versus resale singles and older boxes, percentage-wise, if willing to answer?
I can answer to an extent. Obviously, there is obviously new releases every week, and it depends on the release that really dictates the interest in our hobby shop versus online. So, like when Topps update came out, we're in a baseball town. It was insanely crazy, and it's just a basic common type product, So that week was driven up more than that. We do sell a ton of singles, and then the older boxes. It's just that, like, right now, Bowman Chrome University football has been hot since it released it, and I think it's one of the best bangs for your buck right now. If you're into college football, these are guys that are going to be in the draft next year potentially. We're talking Caleb Williams, Jair Sanders, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May, Penix. It is the most loaded autograph class, and you get 2 autographs a box for, I think we're charging $115 right now. That's performing well, and it's a great price point, and there's a lot of returns. So it really hinders on the product itself and based on our area, and then obviously the dictation of online. Can't really give you exact percentages because, again, like I said, Bowman Chrome's been out, 3 weeks now? We're still selling it. Updates slowing down because you got those people that have filled it. Upper Deck Series 1 hockey with Bedard now being the Easter egg quotation hunt, which Tyson predicted, and we've heard about it for the past week. Yada, yada, yada. Thanks, Tyson. But basically, if those products are going to continue to sustain, if Bedard's playing well and those young guys are playing well, that product's going to continue to stay hot versus obviously, W&B Origins is only going to be a mid-type product that releases this week. We've got the new Prism Draft Basketball that has Victor in it, as well as the Thompson Twins. And then we have Flux Football, but that's last year's, not Flux Football, Flux Basketball, which is last year. I'm just mentioning, tomorrow's releases. Tier 1 will be popular because it's a baseball product. World Series around the corner. Again, new releases really dictate on what they are and what it could mean the time of year it releases based on the interest. So again, obviously when Heritage high number releases for us, it's going to be popular. We're in a baseball town. It's really hard to give the exact percentages, but it gets people in the door because they come in for the new releases if they wanted. Then they'll look around, they're buying supplies, they're seeing some singles. If you're following our website, we're listing singles daily. We are always adding new stuff out to the shop. So we have single buyers, wax buyers, and both that buy everything. So
Joe here asks, how much is theft an issue in your store? Which
it happens, but I think the way we do things, not even just the cameras, the security and everything, but I think the way we have my staff is very knowledgeable and they're watching everything, and the way we have things. if you're not gonna be able to get anything from our cases unless you're obviously doing something stupid that you don't need to be doing. But our cases you're not going to get into anything that's inventory that nature. And then obviously the product on the floor, nothing's over $100 on the floor that's actually you can physically grab. But I have enough staff that works all day, every day, basically the days we're open, and they tend to keep a good eye out. But the thing is, like, we're busy. It's a lot of families. I mean, I think we do inventory every week in the store, every week to keep up on product. Obviously, singles is different, but we're pretty good about it. And we can almost backtrack everything. Every now and then, something cheap's going to slip through the cracks that we can't answer. And we've caught people before, and it's like, our store's very open to where, like, there's not many hidden points you can not see somebody. So, which is key for us. And I think that's what's helped us really prevent that. And I'm just blessed to have, a good community that we don't have to worry about that. Again, it's going to happen, and there's nothing I can do to prevent it. And if it is going to be theft, it's probably going to be some cheaper singles, some packs. Like, it's the nature of the beast. It's shrink. It's when you have a story, it's just, you're going to have theft, and you got to accept that.
Yeah. You don't have your multiple like display racks to have these points of like shadiness and like, hey, let's group together. And
yeah,
I mean, you got your trade tables in the middle, and that's basically it. Everything else is on a wall or, like you said, up by the cases. So
yeah, no, we keep it out. We do a good job to kind of prevent what goes on the floor, and in most part, the way we do inventory to keep up. And the guys, when I was in Chicago in March, set up, they had a couple teenagers they got caught stealing, and they called them out, and they caught them. And basically, I found out that they were going to other shops as well. So they have not stepped foot back in our store since then. I think luckily Adam was working that day, who's like 6'9", and he basically put the fear of life in them. And he wasn't even like, mean to them. He's just like, guys, right there in your pocket, there's a big blaster in your pocket. Like, we watched you stole. Like, you can either put the stuff back. Oh, I was going to buy that, is what the guy said. These are like 17, 18-year-old kids. And Adam's like, I said, 6'9", big dude. And he's like, yeah, you're going to need to buy that. We're not tolerating this. And I'm just grateful I have a great staff that keeps an eye out for the shop's best interest in anything.
So we had you on before National. You talked about your WWE cases that you were just stacking upon stacks. Sort of reiterated that point earlier. I want you to go through how well that was, because I know Dave's midlife card crisis. He showed me, I think, a Shawn Michaels immaculate. I don't know if it's signature moves with like the super kick, or sweet chin music, and it had your sticker on there, and I'm like, okay. And then I know a lot of other people you're talking about that stuff too, where they showed off a lot of that. So, explain how well that worked. That little thought canister.
Hang on one second. Hey, baby, what's up? Okay, can you give me? I'm in the middle of this. Okay, can you guys give me a second so I can get her some cereal real quick, and I'll answer that real quick. I got about 10 more minutes after this. I'm getting I think the kids will lose it. All right, I'll be right back, and I'll answer a few more. Come on, guys.
Okay. No worries. Oh, okay. I remember those days.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I don't have that problem anymore.
No. Yeah, if you didn't get the whatever was being asked within the first 2 asks of it, it was a good situation.
Yeah, been a long while since I've had to deal with interruptions, needing something or wanting something. Now it's just to come in and freaking drive me nuts.
Yeah, it's usually there's interruptions for wanting something. It's at a sporting event, or not even necessarily at a like a Target or a retail place either. Naomi's pretty good about that. She's like, I think she knows she gets quite a bit. So don't need to be asking for much. Usually not saying you get what you want, but if there's something you need, there you go.
No Halloween wreaths. We have fall wreaths up everywhere. Actually, I think there may be a couple mini wreaths on my office door. But
Yeah, you didn't even have like, what was it, Indigenous Peoples Day wreaths or Columbus Day or whatever you want to call it. Wasn't even those out.
that's a little bit of a stretch there, Dave.
Hey.
My kiddo's the same way. It's like they don't ask for much. And so it's one of those on occasion where it may seem a little higher than normal, $30, $35, $40, something like that. We're still more apt to do it because it's not constant.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, when we were in Orlando last year on vacation, we gave her a $200 gift card, which she could spend it how they wanted, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The only agreement that we had is that, hey, if you want one thing, you can't have both. Mom and dad will pay for one, but you have to pay for the other.
Yep.
They wanted a hoodie from the Harry Potter space. And of course, they wanted one of the wands, the interactive wands.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, which one do you want?
Mm-hmm.
So they actually paid for the wand. We bought the hoodie, which we ended up getting cheaper, anyways. So since Ryan's back, you can go ahead and answer the question now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So again, I got about 10 minutes. We're starting to lose the kids. It's getting that time. I got them wanting to fight over cereal, which is outstanding. I'm in cereal right now, which is not good for me. So basically, you were asking about the wrestling. What was it again? What were you saying? You're talking about the Shawn Michaels. Sorry.
It was just about how well that worked out for you guys.
Okay. Yeah, extremely well. Obviously, I'm passionate about wrestling, same as Neil. I rip a lot of it. I buy a lot of it. I collect a lot of it. So it was nice to do that because Neil can also there you go, Randy Orton style. That obviously you can see my kid's Bray Wyatt in the background, The Fiend, which is his favorite wrestler, rest in peace. It's just awful what happened. But, basically, I think there's such a growing market for wrestling. It's such a big worldwide watched, sport per se. Obviously, it's, we all know it's staged, but it's entertaining, and I've watched it forever. I just think it continues to continue to grow. It showed with Panini taking over how much money it really brought to the market. It brought more people into wrestling that do other sports cards, and they're like, well, I watch wrestling. Like, why am I not collecting? These are cool. These are awesome ones. Like you mentioned the Shawn Michaels signature merch. So it went over amazing. And the best part is I bought a lot of wrestling. A lot of it walked up because people are like, I have wrestling here, but nobody seems to have it. You clearly know it. Do you want to buy all my wrestling? So like Marcus, Lambeau Leap sold me a good box of everything, but there was a good amount of wrestling in it too, which was awesome. So, I haven't even processed any of the wrestling that I bought national, let alone a lot I brought back. I just put up, and I'm like, I'm not in a hurry to get to it. It's always going to sell. It's always going to be awesome to see. So wrestling, I think, is going to continue to grow as far as the hobby goes with more people diving into it. Because of that, now obviously we know what's going. We got the WWE Panini fiasco going on right now, which, I just want to enjoy cards. I just want to enjoy ripping wrestling with my kid and collecting it. And we're being on hold right now because who knows, man? Who knows?
Didn't they throw out an injunction though? Like they pretty much said, time out. They can still produce stuff. Like you have no leg to stand on.
Basically, they threw one at first, and the judge ruled in Panini's favor, and then there's another one thrown, and basically WWE wants Panini to completely stop making any cards of WWE, which is unfortunate because I think Panini did a great job with it. It clearly showed. The cards are just amazing. I'm not saying I am excited that Topps is going to get it back, and I know there's a lot of things they can do with it. But again, I wanted to see another. I'm hoping we could see one more year. Basically a year and a half of production left because I love the Immaculate, the Impeccable. We haven't even got those this year like we did last year. Select was amazing. Prism did extremely well.
Wow.
I just they only made so much of it, like meaning like they only did so many releases. I think it's why it did as well. There wasn't like a new release every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It was just so many, and I think they did a phenomenal job with the imaging and just the autographs. And it's awesome. I love it. It's so cool, and I wish they just get this figured out and just let the collectors enjoy it. But I get it; it's business. Something's going on there with the parties, and that's above my pay grade. Obviously, I don't. Who am I? I don't know anything what's really going on legally, but it's unfortunate because now we don't know if we're getting any more ever to be made. So
it's a clusterfuck. Let's just call it what it is.
Basically, in a nutshell, yes, you summed it up.
And if this wasn't a family show, Ryan would be busting out and saying the same thing, but his kids may be right outside the door. So
they're not at this point, but yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're lurking around somewhere.
They're apparently driving my wife nuts, and my wife just like give me the "Are you almost done?" So I got 5 minutes left. I definitely gotta start the process of getting the kids down. But I'm glad I could do this. Wish I had more time. It's just time of year, just with us leaving, and I got to get some rest. I got a lot to do tomorrow to get in order. So, but again, let's use the last 5 minutes to use whatever we can here.
So, Dave, what's the biggest pressing question that you had left for Ryan?
Well, first, and I know I'm going slower than I should. You had mentioned in one of the podcasts after you came back, and we had talked at National. I always ask about, because we love pups, Colt, and you said he was slowing down, and then when you said on the podcast like what had happened, I'm like, I started crying because that's me. Yeah. So again, I condolences there. It's always tough to talk about. I hate talking about any of that stuff without just like completely losing my shit. So with that being said, because I wanted to bring that up because again, it shows we actually care. It's not just best pickup from at the National that you acquired for your PC.
Well, let's think here. I was pretty pumped to pick up the 2023 Prism True Black 101 of Randy Orton in my collection. I was really pumped for that. I picked up some really good inscriptions. I picked up the Emilia Clarke Mother of Dragons inscription, which was awesome. I'm trying to think here, man. Now you're throwing at me like, what else did I pick up? Now you're making me. I picked up a handful of things. I'm trying to think what was like one thing that I was like, I love those. Give me 1 second. Let me peek here. Thank you about Colt. That was rough. We talked about that. What wasn't expected is my younger dog, who was 8, she passed away. Let's say probably 9-10 days after the National ended, because she got like a virus and she was in great health, and it just kind of kicked. And then Cole kind of just deteriorated. I lost them both within 3.5 weeks. They both passed in August, which was hard, man. It was tough, man. I took, because what happened with putting her down, I took Colt in, and I was there. I was the one to put him down, but it was time. It just got so bad. Actually, I took him to vet earlier that day, and then I scheduled for him to put down the next day, and he just literally just deteriorated one day, and it was just awful. And I was like, I gotta get him, tonight. I had to take him up there. I wasn't going to torture him through that, so yeah, that sucked. And he lived a great life. I had a great life with him, and I miss both of them. So, but I was looking at my pictures. It was probably going to be the Orton 101 Black or the Mother Dragons. I did pick up a Harrison Ford Stellar Black True 101 Auto, which was awesome to pick up. Picked up a few things for Parker now, like some Bray Wyatts and stuff. So, but I would definitely have to give the Orton was a big get. I just need the first year to surface, the first year Black. So, okay. Oh, you're done. Okay, can you go put it in the sink, and I'll be there to clean it up? Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, she's like, I'm done. I was like, all right, we'll put in the sink. So I could get like one more question then. Sorry. Make it a good one.
You got to make it best meal other than Monday at the Mexican place.
Best meal at the National?
Yes.
Oh boy. The Mexican place is always my favorite. It's hard. I'll actually have I'll have it actually next month. I go up there. Chicago's gonna be. I'm gonna show my age here, boys. I'm gonna be 40 next month, so I'll be joining the 40s. So it's a league of their own.
Just a baby.
Still just a baby.
Yep.
40 going on 50. It feels like. I would definitely Morton's. We do Morton's. That was great. I love Morton's. We did Gibson's one night. It was outstanding. Well, hang on, babe. I'm almost done. I'll be right out to sit with you. If you sit, you can sit right over here, okay? Okay, come sit right by me. Push the door. Sorry, my daughter wants to come over. She has her time when we hang out on the couch together every night. So it's like, will you close the door real quick?
Stop apologizing for being a dad, man.
Yeah.
Can you turn your iPad down just a little bit for Daddy? Thank you. So this is normal. So I love my Mexican, but again, Morton's was phenomenal. I just there's just so much great food to have that week. I didn't even have Giordano's that whole week, believe it or not. So
we got it for free. So that's how we got.
Oh, there you go.
That's how we got to enjoy it. So that kind of saved us a trip somewhere.
A big bill too, I'm sure. It was the Thursday night YouTube type of thing at the what DoubleTree? Was it that DoubleTree or
okay?
Somewhere over there.
Yeah,
we don't know where it was at. But I couldn't believe when he said the sheriff does not like Portobello's when he gets his
Portillo's. It's called
I know.
Called Porgiano's because his name's Johnny. He does not like it. Basically, he has to eat it 3 times a year. Nationals in Chicago, he has to eat it 3 times a year. So we do Chicago, March, November. On Sunday on the way back home, unless I somehow do not want to punish him, we have to go to Porgiano's. And the best part is that I buy it because he's working for me, and he hates that I buy it for him because he's like, if I'm having to spend this money, why take me to this awful place? But we love it. I love it. It's amazing, but I only have it like 3 times a year. So yeah, we did just go to Peoria together, and I told him like I was going to be nice and we're not going to hit Porgiano's. I wanted to go to Taco John's. And he really was not for that either. So it was nice. But we did try Wahlburgers for the first time. It was actually really good. I've never had that before.
Well,
IVs up here.
Yeah, it's in a Hy-Vee. Yes, that's where it was at. It was across from a hotel we were at in Peoria. Okay. So we'll do my Maria's Mexican next month, and we'll definitely get Porgiano's on the way out, which I'm excited about. So
what does he want to go to? What's he want to eat? What's his preferred?
He'll eat just about anything. He just doesn't like Portillo's. He had a horrible experience there, and I think I told the story on the podcast before about his story, and he's had other encounters there, but
doesn't like his stomach.
Yeah, he basically gets the chicken plain now and fries. He just plays a plain. He'll eat. He doesn't hate that, but he's like anything that remotely you want to order there, he will not order. Period. It's comical, but hey, if you're gonna be up in Chicago, you've got to eat. You gotta spoil yourself. It's up there. I'm only up there so much, and again, I hope they just keep. I know we got Cleveland next year for national. I hope it just stays in Chicago for ever, and I'd be happy.
Well, Maria's is on our list in 25.
Gotta do it.
We were disappointed we didn't get a chance to go. So never enough time.
I get it.
You've said it even from a business perspective.
Yeah.
You wish there was more time to be able to hang with people and catch up and and go spend time with them outside of the show and stuff along those lines. Yeah. There is never enough time. No. It just there isn't. And we accomplished almost everything we wanted to accomplish. I'm speaking for everybody. I feel like that was the case, but there were still a few things that we talked about that just, it didn't happen. And ran out of time.
Yep.
And that's
I get it, man. Down to. Speaking of out of time, I'm hearing my wife yell at my other one. I guess my youngest is not listening, so it means I got the harder one with me, but the younger one's making her. She's tired. So I appreciate again you guys had me on. I want to do this again for sure. I'll stay on me, Dave. Like I said, hopefully Neil pops in. I haven't. Let me see if he's messaged me. Did he text you or anything?
Nope, I haven't gotten a message from him yet. So
okay,
I figured
It's-
between 8:45 and 9, and that's usually the sweet spot
between
you guys are usually in.
Yeah, between
Nope.
now and 9 o'clock is usually when. So it's getting close, but it's always good to see you, Ryan.
Likewise, all three of you guys. Always a good time. Good to see you. Didn't really say a word. I was on here the whole time. Good to see you.
I'm on dog watch, and I just got the daughter to bed. So,
oh yeah, been there, done that. So Neil's currently messaging me on Facebook. We'll get his response here. Yeah, okay, 9:15, right? Messaging him for you guys.
Thanks, Shannon, for letting you come on and dealing with the brood.
You got chips. Well, I appreciate it again, guys. I'm gonna go get these kids down for bed and get to bed myself. But Neil was messaging me back. I said they're live now. I'm getting over to see what he says. Let's see if he's free now or what. What's up, buddy? What's up? You see the Fiend? You see Bray Wyatt? I'm just trying to see what Neil says so I can get you guys updated before I get it. Oh, I thought you were getting on 9:15. No. Oh gosh, I didn't communicate with him. I just
tell him we still like him to jump on.
Yes,
I am. I am. What's up? He goes, well, great.
Come on.
He can hold his own. He doesn't have to have RBI.
I know he can. He could do this. He'd probably get a lot more words in. Let's be honest. What's up? We gotta get to bed. We gotta get started moving because we're not eating snacks anymore. This is why I did in the basement the one time because I knew this was gonna happen.
Go take care of the family, Ryan. Yeah. It's always good to see you, my friend. We appreciate
it. All right, likewise, guys. Take care, and we'll do this again, all right?
Absolutely.
See you guys. Love you.
Yeah, later. Love you.
The joys of parenthood.
Especially with the youngins that are.
Yep.
I think we've said it before. They're a little more needy, but that's all right.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do, and sometimes the neediness is there even as they get a little bit older.
Made my son-in-law a grilled cheese sandwich for lunch. Figure, why not?
Okay, no, that's a little much.
Hey, I was making them.
Well, I'll be over so we can make some too.
Okay.
I'd say the same thing, but I have it take me a little bit longer to get there, and I don't do grilled cheese. So
what?
Yeah, you heard me.
Meredith got me Burger King for breakfast, so I ate that about 10:30 because I had meetings, and then I came up and she's like, "Can you make me a pizza pocket sandwich?" I'm like, "Why, yes, I can." So he just got home from doing some stuff, and I was like, "You want a grilled cheese sandwich?" Because he doesn't do red sauce very often. So made him a grilled cheese.
I'll stick with Peyton for now. I'm not a fan of Harbaugh. And I still don't think, regardless of what anybody says, yes, I think he's overhyped, but he's not a bad coach, and he's not the problem.
I think you guys got a lot of problems.
Okay, he's not the larger percentage problem. There are other things that are causing them to be as bad as what they are. And they're not rectifying part of that problem still, which blows my mind, but whatever. And I'm referring to the defense, if anybody is curious. Yes, they played all right the last 2 weeks, but even then, you don't give up 70 points and still have a job.
No.
So, like, Joseph needs to go. They're already talking about fire sales and everything else, which, look, I get it if they're wanting to go into a rebuild, but there's a lot of shit out there about PS2 and, like, you can build your defense around a guy like that. You do not get rid of him.
No, you don't find those guys hanging out in the street corner or on the waiver wire.
No, like your receivers. I like Judy. He's still got a drop problem. Like, okay, like I could see him go. Sutton when he's on the field, he does pretty damn good. He's not a number one. So it's one of those in which you'd have to. Could he fill in as a number one potentially? But he's not a number one guy. The offensive line, even with the money that they spent, it still sucks.
I can't believe how many false starts McGlinchey's had. I think in the 2 games I've watched, he's had 2 or 3. And he had another one on Sunday. I'm like, I thought this dude was rock solid in San Fran. I'm like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, it's one of those I can't point the finger at like specific, like the whole team is horrible.
I just don't think it's the combination that's working. And again, that's on every level. From the top to the bottom, nothing is. You've got talent, but you just don't have meshable talent. They're not.
Javonte Williams is looking better as the weeks progress. McLaughlin, that kid is a fucking stud. Russell has his moments.
I don't know what's going on.
He has his moments, but like I go back though to the fucking offensive line. If you can't give a guy time to throw the football, what do you expect him to do? And with that,
I was going to say,
the other half has joined us. We will now welcome the better half. Okay, the other half of RBICru7, our good friend Neil Kenworthy, Crew7.
Hold on, guys. I'm having issues with my audio.
We can hear you.
Sorry.
He can't hear us. That's funny. We can hear him.
All right. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys.
It's usually the other way around. Usually they can hear us. We just can't hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still wearing his freaking work shirt.
That's what I wanted to ask about, too, is if they're going to get fatty fat sizes for the national shirt.
We touched on that after the national, the first show after the national. Because
I know we're going to talk about it.
Well, I was talking with them, and like they had some of the larger sizes. They didn't have enough, but they were also talking about adding another X to the list. Thumbs up, Neil. Let's try this again.
Hey, I can hear you guys now. That helps.
I was like,
a little bit.
We heard you, and usually it's you can hear us. We can't hear you.
Yeah,
That's usually our issues.
Hey, we got it going. That's what matters.
Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you.
Yeah, good seeing you guys. How you been?
Been good. Been good.
Good.
We told the other guy, tired.
Yeah. Well, the other guy was supposed to let me know when he was on so I could hop on. Because he's like, 9:15, I'll be on. Okay, I'll be on at 9:15. I got nothing.
we're used to you being able to come on a little bit later because you've got your kiddo is much younger.
Yeah.
So it's like we were kind of used to you guys coming on a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And we were talking early on, and all of a sudden it was like, there's fucking Ryan. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that was unexpected.
You're like, all right, well, you take what you can get, right?
Hey,
Oh, yes.
It's always nice to have you both on at the same time, but
Yeah.
it's also good to be able to chat individually because Ryan likes to steal the thunder and
Which
take over.
I'm fine with. I don't talk enough for this type of stuff.
But now we can force you to have good conversations.
That's true. That's true. So what are we talking about, gentlemen?
What do you think of Yachty? Is he going to be your next manager?
God, I hope so. The team didn't have it without him this year. It was obvious.
Oh my God.
And he's managed in Puerto Rico, so I mean, maybe he can do it here. Fans would love it.
He's got to be better than what you put out there.
Well, that's a fact. Even my boy Wayno was a rough year.
Yeah. That was just.
Yeah.
Again, I get losing him. I get Pujols and not so much. Again, the late season, just sort of like retirement tour. You knew that was whatever he could give you was going to be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not like you got rid of 50 people, 60 people. And you got all these rookies. It's not like the Marlins, like the old fire sale.
Right.
Now we can get AA guys coming up.
I mean, it just shows that leadership and the pitching staff trust him. The team loved him. I don't know.
Yeah, because again, when you start the season and you're not even like a week in, and Tyler O'Neill stories already start to come out, it's like,
Yeah, I think he's gone.
This isn't going to be a good year.
No, it was a rough year. That was a fact.
Been
But
there.
I got to go to the last Cardinals game Wayno was in uniform for. That was pretty cool.
Been there, done that.
If he pitched one more time, I was looking at it. I was like, man, couldn't see JJ, Matt Cain, still Verlander's a chance. Jared Weaver never got to see. It's like those guys I think of all as like one person. All 06 class.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck, if I could get down there. And then they said after that last game against the Brewers, when he pretty much pitched his arm off. That was pretty much it. And he's going to be doing his little music thing and whatever there. And I'm like,
yeah. I was hoping to see him pitch one last time, but what are you going to do, you know?
And then you got the pinch hit or whatever against the Reds when they were losing, were they losing?
No, they were winning.
Oh, they were winning 18-2 or whatever it was. And,
no, he actually pinch hit the very last game of the season too, where they were up.
Okay.
So I was able to see that. That was cool.
Yeah, that's stuff like that where, again, when you tell anybody else, it's like, well, man, I got emotional seeing this guy retire or whatever. It's like, well, he doesn't know you from the next guy on the road. And it's like, I get that, but
he was a part of my collecting. My collecting life started pretty much with him. So it's got an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah. An emotional, a financial. I mean, just everything.
I mean, I'm still going to collect stuff if he has cards out.
Yeah. So just that's the odd part. It's like all of our guys. I won't say we started collecting, but you just said with Wayno, it was Josh Johnson defines me, at least on YouTube. Before it was North.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it's like all these guys are gone. It's like I don't want to collect, and you can't. You can't play or collect. It's not. So that it completely changes like the hobby as we know it. And I know you have to sort of put that out of your mind. How hard is that to do when, again, that's like the basis of your collecting life is like, okay, if I'm telling somebody, hey, player collecting, it's fun if you pick like a nice player that progresses, has individual success, has team success. You can't even suggest that now because you have to win that Powerball. It's like $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, because it wasn't back in the day, we weren't like, oh man, we just want like maybe this card or that card. It was always trying to get every card that we could.
Mhm.
Some people got more copies than others. I won't mention names, but a lot of people happy with the one copy, and then that's how they progress. But now you can't even tangibly, feasibly get them because it's just you'd have to rob, like I said, a Brinks truck or win the Powerball.
Well, I mean, that's one reason I started collecting Wayno. He wasn't expensive. And now I'm looking at stuff, what his stuff sells for now, and it's ridiculous. It's like I could get an auto for like $5, and now those same autos are like $40.
I'll trade you. I'll trade you.
Yeah.
I'll trade you.
You don't go after autos. Shut up. Like, go back on mute.
He's gone.
You don't go after autos. That doesn't count. Yes.
Well, I'm gonna have to start because I'm running out of freaking cards here, man.
You still have plenty to go after.
Yeah, I do.
I promise you. But and you know me, I like to throw jabs, but back when I was shut up, Dave. In the early YouTube days, you know, like Dave was Josh Johnson. I was TD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what everybody knew me as. Yes, I had the Broncos collection and everything else,
but TD was your main.
But TD was my guy.
Yeah.
And I wish I could go back to those days and spend $30 and $40 on an auto.
Yeah.
Like there are still stuff out there, but I already have it.
Yeah.
And unlike Dave, I don't need 15 copies of one.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I have one copy of most of my Wayno stuff.
Well, but
I know I'm slacking.
Well, no, because that's typically when you think player collector, that's normally what a lot of people do. It's one copy of everything. And then you have people like Dave and like Vinny who want 10, 12, 15 copies because they really like the card.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Vinny. Vinny does it because he likes certain cards. Dave, he just wants, if there's serial number to 100, he wants all 100.
Hey,
like
something to strive for. Yeah, completionist for sure.
But I would love to go back and, you know, bigger product 101, coughing up $100, $110. You know, now it's like anything that comes around that's of decent consequence, not the right word I'm looking for, but you know, bigger product, whatever, $350, $400, $500, and I'm like,
easy,
no.
Yeah.
No. Like you people are smoking crack, and they have multiple bidders, like in the 20s. Watchers are in like the 30s.
Yep.
Like back in the day, hell, I might have been only the lone watcher on a card after it had already been bid on a few times, and then people just forgot about it and didn't care.
Sure.
Like I can't compete. I can't.
It's tough nowadays. That's a fact.
So for national, we brought it up with your cohort. I'll bring it up as a first question for you.
Okay.
You pick up anything PC wise? Big PC edition?
I didn't really pick, like, there were no Waynos for me there. But I got to walk around for like 5 minutes and I found some, like, I think it was 98 WWE autos. First one I found was Animal. Obviously, he's not signing it anymore. And then Paul Bearer in China from that same set walked up to the table. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start buying that set, I guess. And then Ryan ended up buying The Rock, and I ended up buying that off of him. So it's another little side PC project, I guess, because Owen Hart's in there and that. So some of the bigger names that are passed away now. But yeah, there wasn't too much this year, unfortunately.
Well, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I
I
remember
went there with a good amount of money and nothing.
Is Hawk in the set too, or is it just Animal?
I'm sorry, it was Hawk that I bought, not Animal.
Well, they're both dead, so
right. But I don't know if Animal's in there. But it was.
I was just curious.
I was in high school when that came out, so I was like, "This is kind of neat," and it's nice silver ink on a lot of them. So.
And again, for us back then, watching wrestling was what you did. It wasn't even we were thinking about cards.
Oh no, yeah.
So all that stuff, and I think I'd asked you there. Do you have any of the WCW? Because that's the set. Again, if I were to win that Powerball, that would be the set. If I had to buy it, I would do it that way, because that's so many of the guys that we love that are
no longer with us. Yeah,
you have Guerrero. I think I don't know if Rude made that set or not.
I feel like he did for some reason.
Because again,
I'm not 100%.
Because I think that was what 98 that came out, and that
around there, yeah. I think so.
Same thing with him. He was on basically all three of the shows in 1 week.
Yeah. I think he finished one night with WWE, and the next night he was in WCW. Yeah.
And then he came out with ECW not too much longer, like right after. So you had Perfect. I think you had Bossman, and there's like Ray Trailer, Eddie Guerrero's in there. You have Benoit. So I mean,
I would say Benoit was in there. I mean, Macho Man. I think Miss Elizabeth had one too. And
so I mean that set. If you can't get the WWF guys, it's like, okay, that's basically the set let's stop for. So I've looked at that many times, and I'm just like, I don't want that project unless I have the funds, because because those things are ridiculous. Yeah, because I've looked at like just the low end guys. I'd love to get a Silver King, Eldan, all those goofballs. I mean, like, I want those, but it's like still 40, 50, $60. Glacier's over 100. It's like, I'm good. That's a cool one though. I believe me, I know this, but it's you start to pay. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, wow, that's because wrestling that set's just ridiculous. If you would touch an Eddie Guerrero card, you're paying out the butt for that one. Yep, and that thing 10, 15 years ago was probably like a $400 or $500 card. I don't even know what it is now. It's ridiculous. So that's this thing where we all missed out on that back then. Yeah, because we're so engrossed in the actual just watching wrestling, which again, fun, but man, that to go look for that stuff then and probably see some of those guys for like $8-10. Yeah. Oh yeah. A Benoit for like $20 or something. It's like, oh, I don't even want to. If you only knew.
Wrestling cards were in the infancy in those times though too.
Oh yeah. I mean,
compared to what it is now, like they're mass produced nowadays. Back in those days, you didn't have a whole lot of options.
No. Yeah.
So it's like you're lucky if you get one or two sets type situation on an annual basis. And that was when outside of like the wrestling stars, like the older, 70s shit, the Hulk Hogan rookie card or whatever it is, whatever year that is, early 80s.
80s, early 80s.
But outside of that, most people knew like the early 90s, like the classic was one of the ones that I remember growing up.
Or the
And even
the shitty WCW ones.
That's the one I always remember is that WCW set with the Saved by the Bell colors and all that.
Yeah, but they weren't prominent. You know, 1 or 2 sets every year if you were lucky, and there weren't autographs like in those early sets. So you were engrossed in watching wrestling and the storylines and all the other kind of stuff. You weren't focused on the card aspect.
Yeah, it wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah, a lot of people missed out on opportunities. But let's face it, we could all sit here and talk about some of our biggest hobby regrets of not buying certain stuff when we kind of early started thinking about it. You know, freaking Brady Contenders rookies, you know, $20 a pop, like all day, every day. You know, there's like that's the biggest one, but I mean,
obviously
buying PMGs. You know, everybody talks about PMGs and all this other kind of shit. Buying PMGs for like pennies on the dollar compared to now, in both basketball and football. Like, none of us would ever have thought that the COVID era would have caused such the big boom that it did.
Yeah.
But even then, we've all amassed decent collections. We've all still been able to collect even during the boom. Maybe not as much as what we would like. We've been able to do it.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
And I'm speaking for everybody, not from a business perspective. I'm specifically focusing on a collector perspective because for those who don't know, Neil is still a collector and has been.
Always will be.
And like that's not going to change.
Never will.
We all like the fact that things are becoming more stable. Like
start to normalize.
Everybody, you know, all the big influencers are kind of ducking and kind of crawling off.
Yep.
Because let's face it, this hobby has never been all about positivity anyways. For those who have been collecting for more than 5 years, every single one of us can tell you horror stories when it comes to the hobby is not always rainbows and unicorns and toilet flower cards. It's just not a thing.
Right.
It's not always positive. And when you have people consistently trying to put a positive vibe out there, like why people grasp onto that, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. For those who have seen the ups and downs for 20, 30 years, we all know. Good and bad. All the time.
Yep.
Dave, you're anxiously awaiting to say something. I'm just waiting.
Well, I know we asked him at National how it was to run the show alone on a particular piece that was done 1 or 2 weeks before that. Speaking of ultra positive and always positive, and how was it giving a tour to one of our friend influencers?
That it was different because that's I'm the quiet guy. I don't do the in front of camera stuff. I like being behind the scenes. So me having to be front and center, being the face of the shop, it was just weird for me. I kind of blacked out, if you will, and just went with it. I mean, that's all I could do. I mean, I tried to think about what I was going to say, but most of it was pulled out of my butt as I was talking. So, no, it was different.
So Baz, let me clarify. So all of us here on this panel, and probably everybody who's still here watching or paying attention to the actual conversation and not watching the baseball game, which for those who aren't paying attention, last I checked, it was 3-2 Arizona. So it's been a back and forth game. The hobby has always been a positive influence to all of us. When I say it's not all about positive, I'm not talking about the influence, because collecting cards for all of us has been a constant in all of our life. And we find ways to keep things positive. But we also collected in a time, you especially, you've been collecting longer than us. I've been collecting since I was 5. Okay, so 84. Not as long as you, but still a long time. It's always been a positive influence on in my world, in my life. Like, it has been a constant and will continue to be a constant. Maybe not from a percentage perspective, but it will always be a constant.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you have people that have come out of the woodwork. I'm sure they've been around longer than what we give them credit for, but they come out of the woodwork as these all-powerful individuals.
Yeah.
And just throwing out consistent positivity. And for those who have been doing this for as long as what it have, it's not always positive.
Wish it was.
We can find a positive in every negative, because that's what we try and do, because this is a big part of our life. We don't want it to get to the point to where the only thing that comes in our mind when we're talking about collecting cards is the negative bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
None of us want that. But it is the reality of any collecting genre. It's not just sports card collecting. It's Pokemon. It's the TCG or CCG, whatever term you want to use. Non-sports. It's all engrossed in some sort of controversy or all some sort of negativity. It's there. We don't focus on it, but at the same time, we're not sitting there and go like, "Oh, this is the fucking greatest time to do this and this." Like, no.
Well, like Ryan just picked up a Michael Jordan 101 Goodwin Champions auto. We posted it on our Facebook. I can't tell you how many comments that Ryan and I had to go in and mute or delete just because of the negativity. Talking about how, oh, the auto went off the sticker. It's the end of the world. Oh, it's got to be fake. Oh, why can't they have the Bulls jersey? It's like, just enjoy the card. It's an amazing autograph. Just leave it at that. You don't have to start bringing your negative bullshit into this.
Well,
it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
You wanted the card. All cards have some sort of imperfection. Let's face it. Yeah. The Gem 10 connotation is a farce. It's bullshit. There is not a perfect card in existence. I'm sorry.
Never will be.
No.
It is printed on cardboard. You will always have some sort of imperfection. Yeah. Microscopic, but there's always going to be imperfections. Gem Mint was another way for people to come out and figure out ways to make money and to increase the perceived value of a collectible. Let's face it, that's what it's there for. If anybody thinks otherwise, I'm sorry if I just bursted your bubble. But they will always have imperfections, sticker imperfections, card like autographs going off of cards. Like, shit happens.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
But like you, just appreciate what it is.
Yeah.
Like okay, so, and yes, I taped this together, but it's four cards. Like, somebody sketched this card. Like, I no offense to this artist, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think Chris Sictifer would have done a better job, but that's my own personal opinion. But like, this isn't everybody's cup of tea. There's going to be imperfections in this card. but I like this fucking card.
And that's what matters.
And at the end of the day, it's not about what everybody else says, wants, thinks. And I'm going to say this, since I know we still got a lot of baseball people in here, take it for what it's worth. This is not me jabbing on anybody. It's not. A lot of people focus on vintage collecting. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. If that's what you enjoy, if that's what you like.
Mm-hmm.
But don't talk about people collecting modern. Because guess what? At some point, modern is going to become vintage. Shut up. When modern becomes vintage, vintage becomes antique.
Yeah.
So you have to look at things in the entire sphere. There's a lot of things that people don't think about because they've got the blinders on. They only focus on what they find enjoyable. And there's nothing wrong with that. We always say, collect what you like, collect what you enjoy, and fuck what everybody else has to say. Because it's where you want to spend your money. And nobody has the right to tell you where you spend your money. So I'm not saying that you vintage people like you're closed-minded, because that's not it either. That's what you enjoy. That's what you like. That's what your focus is. Hey, more power to you. I think it's great. I honestly wish we had more vintage football guys, personally.
Yeah, there's not many out there.
Because I would enjoy more vintage football than what I would vintage baseball. And I enjoy vintage baseball because I can appreciate it. I appreciate it for what it is. But modern collectors will eventually have vintage cards when we kick the bucket.
Yep.
So let that sink in for a minute, folks. Put that into perspective. For everybody out there who dogs modern or ultra modern for that matter, at some point, those cards are going to become vintage. So shut up.
So I dabble a little bit in like vintage clothing. 2003-ish is considered vintage. So if that says anything, like I've got Brady rookies from the 2000s. Are they vintage now?
See, 20 years is not vintage, in my opinion.
I don't disagree.
And I think that's still even an open debate. It's not like and for anybody out there, for all you vintage guys, please, please, please jump in here. I don't think that there is a common agreement of what years fall into vintage. It depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
It could be the 50s to the 70s. It could be the late 40s into the late 60s. Now, with pre-war, everybody knows pre-war. Okay, yeah. That's its own separate category. That's got a definitive kind of date range. But when it comes to vintage, I mean, T206s, are those vintage? I mean, those are damn near 100 years old. That's antique. That's not vintage. That's antique. So it's like with modern, we all know modern changes year over year. Ultra modern changes year over year as we continue to progress in the years. But it's like too many things in this hobby space that can be debated. And everybody could have good arguments for one way or the other.
It's very true.
Like I said, I'm not a vintage guy. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I'm a vintage guy. I know nothing about it.
Same. I price it, but that's it.
Do I want some vintage sets in my collection? Absolutely. But what I deem vintage may not be vintage to somebody else because it could fall out of said date range.
Yeah.
And it could be different between football and baseball. I want somebody in the vintage space to pop in here and say something or make a video, educate. We need more education.
Do you know the top 10 sales of the last 1975 cards in baseball? Do you know that?
No, but I know you can go find it on YouTube.
Can I?
Yes, you can, Dave. Moving on.
We didn't ask Ryan this, but I'll ask you. I enjoy listening, and we plugged it earlier. We'll plug it again. The Kicking It with the Crew podcast drops every Monday.
Yeah.
I enjoy Grumpy Ryan when he starts getting up because I'm like, finally somebody else other than me. And I know he has to restrain himself from swearing, which I wish he wouldn't do, but I fully understand why. Especially talking fantasy football.
Exactly.
A couple weeks ago, I'm going to say Drew maybe making a stupid trade where not getting the value for particular players.
Yeah, that got Ryan fired up.
Which I loved. I was like, oh, finally, because I was starting to fade. I usually listen right before bed, just try to you guys out. So I follow along and sort of like he's like, I'm getting worked up. I'm like, that's what we need. And I remember before the season that he was very excited for the year. And again, he wasn't as much talking about like an undefeated season as I think you and Tyson were sort of, especially I think Tyson looking at like
definitely Tyson.
And I don't know if that's tongue in cheek with him or not, but your teams have both underperformed.
Oh God, yeah.
Again, your name from whatever password is taco. And again, I don't watch shows, so when you start like it's from this show, I watch the same 4 shows I watched like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I think the only things new I've watched over the past 4 years has been you, and I don't even know what else. I mean, it's Science Theater 3000, wrestling, car crashes, and and music video type stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't change. So when you say all that stuff, I'm just like, okay, I'll say sure. But you're changing to Oprah because they're giving away wins. Everybody gets a win.
Everybody gets a win.
So I want to ask, fantasy-wise, for anybody that cares about fantasy out there that's listening now, how'd your team do this week? Because I haven't listened to yesterday's podcast, so I'm.
so far this.
I did.
There we go. I lost. Shocker. But it was bye again, so 90% of my team was on bye.
Okay.
It was funny. There's 6 teams on bye this week, none next week. Like, couldn't you did 4 or 3 and 3? Sorry, but no, they couldn't do that. But no, so far this year I've gone loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So I should win this week if it stays true.
So at least you're still relevant.
Kind of, yeah. I'm like a game back out of the playoffs, so yeah.
You're not Tyson.
No, he's still got the 1 win.
No, the more I hear about it, it's like, man, that league would be interesting to be in when you have Ryan and Tyson wanting to make deals constantly.
Yeah.
And then Potter being like a curmudgeon that's holding like the fistful of nickels and like, I'm not giving this up for $1. Well, you only have 55 cents there. No, this is what I want. This is my money. Oh, can.
And Potter lost to a winless team this week, so whoops.
Well, when you don't have depth, as you may or may not have mentioned once or twice on there, and then you have somebody on bye and you have somebody injured as your top 2 receivers, Chase and Jefferson, it's like, well,
What are you gonna do? That's why he lost in the championship last year. He didn't have depth, and because Henry didn't play and Tua didn't play. So, and he had Waddle and Hill. So, and they had Skylar Thompson, I think, thrown to him.
Yeah.
So, whoops.
Yeah, and he was one of the guys that had plenty of opportunities, I guess, to Tyson or Ryan, one of the two, to make a deal a couple weeks back. That Tyson, because he was going to give up like whatever his first rounder was next year, and I don't even remember who else, but give him some depth, and didn't want to do it. It's like,
Yeah,
you can do both. You can
like
play for this year, and you can still be like, okay, I need to look ahead, because if I've got a surplus in this position, believe me, I want to have all of it, but
right.
if it can help me, and I'm going to need help.
If you're thin, you're going to get hurt and you're going to lose. I mean,
I don't know about being thin, but I mean, I know about losing.
Like, I'm probably one of the guys that trades the least in the league,
but
I don't know. I like sticking with my team. I draft them, so I probably overvalue my guys. But it's all right.
Is your draft order figured based on record at the end of the year going into
Yes.
the fall season? Okay.
Yep.
And I kind of figured that since it's a dynasty league, and it's the fact that you are planning on playing for future years.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why you can sit there and say, okay, well, basically my team sucks. I'll give you my first round draft pick going into next year. If you're last in the league right now, you should be looking at least the top 2 pick potentially.
Exactly. That's why I like playing Dynasty. You have to look at that far ahead and stuff. Because redraft, it's just, all right, this team sucks. I'll leave it alone. Go on to next year. Yeah, you got to think about what you're doing. Like, I traded my first round for T. Higgins. I won the championship. That first round pick was the last pick in the first round.
Yep.
So, worked out for me.
Yeah, that's kind of what the plan was in Denver when they went after Russell Wilson, giving up a first round draft pick. They were expecting it to be a later first round pick than what it was. So,
yeah.
How will that work out for you? Baseball question. Who are you rooting for tonight?
I want the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Phillies were there last year. Plus, I mean, Rangers and Diamondbacks would be interesting to me.
Well,
a bunch of former Cardinals on both those teams.
I'm a Rangers guy, so of course, I would prefer Arizona.
Sure.
But at the same time, Texas swept Philly to start the year. Granted, this is postseason. It's October baseball. Totally different.
Yeah.
But, I was telling Dave and Vinny, the way Texas was seeing the ball in Game 6 and Game 7, I don't give a shit who they're playing. Whoever's playing them in the series, they need to be concerned.
Yeah. I mean, Adolis Garcia, I don't know what we were thinking when we let that guy go.
No.
We need to make room for the Japanese pitcher that pitched like 2 seasons for us and is gone already.
Yeah, but the crazy thing, though, is so St. Louis designated him for assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Texas did the same thing. And lo and behold, he's turned into a freaking superstar.
Yep. Him and Randy Rosarina were both in our system.
So what's crazy with him is 20 RBIs already in the postseason, and they haven't even played Game 1 of the World Series yet.
Yeah.
So All he needs is 2 RBIs to have the most RBIs in a postseason run. That says something.
Yeah, it does.
He had 15 in that Houston series. That's fucking nuts.
Yep. 1-2 a game. That's crazy.
I mean, a grand slam helps, but I mean,
Yeah.
in all fairness, like still 15.
Yeah, that's insane.
31. He had 31 in April. I still remember that because I was watching. I'm like, okay, him killing the Phillies that first weekend. I'm like, oh, that's nice. And then just sort of watched him from a fantasy perspective. I'm like, man, he is raking. And I'm like, well, wonder if he's got like Gonzalez's, Igor's number for the. And again, I don't know if it was broken. I'm sure it's been broken since then. When he had what 170 RBIs. I don't. Again,
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's a long time ago. Just looking at that, I'm like, man. And again, you look at a lot of these other guys that are hitting home runs. They got 40 or 30 home runs, but they only have 60 to 70 RBIs, maybe.
A lot of solo stuff.
Yep. So that means the team's doing well. If he's got 31 RBIs and he's got probably 6-7 home runs during that month. Yeah. So a lot of gap-to-gap balls, a lot of power. Glad St. Louis cut him. I don't like I'm not a Rangers fan by any stretch, but when they do well, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
5 years ago, I'd have been even more excited, but with YouTube and the advent of other Rangers fans coming along the way that we found out about, it's like, friends to Steve South.
I just want them to finally bring home a championship. So close to your damn Cardinals.
Yeah.
Like I still remember that. So I ended up having to fly to Vegas for business during the World Series. So I'm sitting in the lobby. No, I was in Reno. I was not in Vegas. I was in Reno. Where we stayed in Reno was a casino. So I was down in the sports area, the sports book area, watching the game. And I'm like, holy shit. This is it. We're going to fucking win. And of all people, Nelson Cruz.
Just
everybody says routine fly ball. Okay, it wasn't completely a routine fly ball.
I would have said routine.
But something that under normal circumstances, 99.99% of the time he would have caught.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are he makes that play. It's done.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
And then of all fucking people, Freeze being the guy that somehow didn't do much really the entire year.
No, he didn't.
But in the postseason, like the guy was freaking like untouchable. Unreal postseason.
He's now a legend here.
So that one hurt, but the one against San Francisco hurt more because of the decision to keep Vladdy in the lineup, put him in the field, right field, Old Man River, because they wanted his bat.
Yeah.
And it cost them the series, like, period. I understand the reasoning. As a manager, you want your bats. Like, I get it. But when the guy's, 85 years old, we all know that's an exaggeration, but like, you got to put things into, like, somebody hits the ball in right field, like a younger guy can run it down.
Yeah.
That's a double or a triple, every time the ball is hitting that direction. I mean, come on.
And I remember watching Vladdy in Montreal. That young Vladdy was insane in the field with that arm.
100%. But I mean, he was pushing 40 years old during that playoff or the back-to-back World Series trips. He was pushing 40 years old, if not already at 40. I think he was 39.
Yeah.
But I mean, he had a lot of wear on those tires, man.
Oh, absolutely.
And it just, that series, like, going in, they had a better chance of beating St. Louis, and it showed. They got close compared to San Francisco. San Francisco was fucking loaded that year. Like, their starting pitching was freaking on fire. Phenomenal. Buster Posey was freaking on fire.
Yeah.
Like, they were firing on all cylinders at the right time, and Texas's offense just went like it was non-existent. So that's my only concern. Like, going out or going into Houston, winning game 6 and 7, the way that they did with the number of runs scored.
Yeah.
What was it? 20 runs? Because it was 11-4 and 9-2. So 20 runs.
Yeah.
In 2 games. You're going out on a high. Now keep it going.
Yeah, that's the thing. Keep that momentum running.
And with the way that they were seeing the ball in game 6 and game 7, all up and down the lineup, but Josh Young and Leote pretty much were the only ones who weren't seeing the ball. Like, look out. They're Montgomery and Evaldi being 1-2. They've done phenomenal. That should give you at least 2 wins that you know of because the way they've been pitching. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
It'll be a fun one to watch.
I'm hoping it's their year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's their year. And I don't want 7 games either. I don't want 7 games. I don't want 7 games.
Yeah. That's a lot of stress right there.
This one, I'm surprised I even have like my fingertips. Like, seriously. This series just about freaking drove me crazy, man.
I don't doubt it.
But,
all right, guys. The wife is telling me I need to go. So
next time we will talk
good
about.
Talking to you guys.
We'll talk about this guy next time.
You're welcome on that one. That kid's a stud. Hey, we got our Stanley Cup because of it.
I know. Well, we'll talk hockey next time. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Sounds like a plan, brother. Good seeing you guys.
Thanks for coming out.
Well, we at least got them both, just not at the same time. And it's coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Which
now Vinny's going to want to start talking.
We can just do this and this.
And let Vinny talk?
Yeah, just let me talk.
Yep. Let the soapbox extend.
Yep.
As he says nothing.
I'm looking at the final score for the Penguins, 4-1 Dallas, that we got our heads chopped off tonight. I don't know what our deal is.
Yeah, Stars are looking fairly good.
Jari is not the goalie I think we should have. I don't know if he started tonight. And if it's the other dude, whoever he is, whatever. We have no defense. So that is a noise. That's early MVP gold script. No. Yeah, it's gold script.
99 2000.
It's one of the early ones.
One that came in from Canada a few days ago. That player's choice in Kelowna, British Columbia. They accepted an offer, and I said, good.
Yeah, but I was saying Dallas is doing good. Their only loss is the Vegas in the shootout.
Those the original year?
Those are the winners. The winner,
Yeah.
whatever.
The one with Shaq, Penny, and I think Weber. Like, just imagine back in the day.
Yeah, but those are the winners. The winner cards or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah.
See the finger? See, Vinny, that's how you do acetate, and you show the finger. It needs to be behind the card.
His finger. See it? Let me see.
Oh, lighten up. I'm gonna call you Dave Jr.
Hey, now it's a family show. And then, of course, he goes right away when that's one he had shown me. I know he sent that. I don't know if it was a promo, the clip. It was like the redemption. Because there's a bunch of that stupid shit with like the. It's not the platinum team because I've seen a couple of platinum teams and I'm just about ready to jump on them, even though. There's Rennie. Come on. Baby, come back.
I should have changed his name this show to Door. That's a cool looking card. So obviously you're still heavy on the Lindros kick.
This is all stuff that came in a week and a half ago or so. I have not looked them up. I have not looked them up in probably 2-3 weeks.
Since we didn't have the show last week, we wouldn't have seen any of these.
But here's the one.
All the redeemed.
Yep.
It's 94. Yeah, Lemieux's not in that one. That's a solid patch.
Those are tough to sell.
The guy had free shipping, and I said, hey, do not send it PWE. Let me know if I need to add money for shipping because just put it in a bubble mailer. I do not want the window of that creased. I've had it happen far too many times. So and he didn't. He shipped it bubble mailer with cardboard around it, and I said, thank you very much for doing that. I know it's not a card that's worth a ton of money, but again, it's a card that obviously I desire, even though I've got several. But I think it was like $4 off of offers. So yeah, the only thing I've looked at like the last 2.5-3 weeks basically has been Josh Johnson and anything like softball related, like T-shirts, bats, jerseys, and then there's a tee I'm looking at probably getting her for Christmas. It's called the Tanner tee.
The Tanner tee, okay.
It's whatever. I looked up like the top rated tee on there, and it went through and then like I don't know this tee from that tee. I mean, I could look at it in one's. If you have a limp tee and you have a very straight, hard tee, they're going to be greatly different.
This is a family show.
Different in the abilities they can perform. So, but that thing was $100, $8,900 low end. So, but the one thing I want to get for sure, and again, I got to do more shopping for that, and That's what I told Vinny. I'm like, that's one of the. I'm just tired of cards. I shouldn't say that on a card podcast, but at the same time, I'm tired of them. It's the we mentioned it, the drama, the stupidity, the dumbness. You just hope these people like get run down. I'm going to send these two guys a link later for a car crash video to watch. I was literally like mouth agape with some of these because I'm like, I haven't seen them, and these are from several years ago, and they're in the Russian, the world of the Russian car crashes. And when you have people walking down the road in the dark and they're not wearing reflective clothing, I was stunned. So told Naomi, I said, you fell asleep at the worst part. The worst time that I was. So I'm like, I wish somebody would do that with some of these great folks we have in our hobby that are just cancel cars on your rectum. I mean, it's just
Wishful thinking.
so tiring. So it just, and again, the time of year, it's like
it's
Christmas.
fastly approaching. It's fastly approaching.
I gotta. The only thing I'm doing is Josh Johnson and that, and for you guys. So
I'm not tired per se, because honestly, I've bid on 2 things since last show, and I got obliterated on both of them, which is fine, because that just means that I have more money still left to spend on Vinny and Bob, because Dave, you're done. You've been done. But I've been eyeing something specifically for Vinny, which has continuously eluded me, unfortunately, which sucks. But Bob, I haven't even started yet. But I have my ideas for him. Like, it's not that there's more opportunity to get Bob taken care of. But like, I'm definitely not doing as many searches as what I used to for my guy, because like I said, I'm not tired. I'm worn out. And a lot of it has to do with, for whatever reason, over the last, I don't know, 4 to 5 months, there's been cards that have popped up that I need, that under normal circumstances, even with us being more in a higher market value type shit, like some of these cards shouldn't sell for what they're selling for. Like, I don't get it. One of them or 2 of them, I maybe because of the seller it is. And no, this is not Probstein. No, this is not MC Sports Cards. No, this is not any of the big consignment places. It's because the collection that the guy is moving. It's the same guy who had the 06 National Treasures Shield 101. He listed some other stuff. One of them I didn't go after. Once it reached a certain point, I'm like, yeah, that's too much. Cool card, but no. The other one I wanted, I said I got obliterated. I didn't get obliterated, but I still lost. And then I went after one tonight that went for way more than what I thought. I had my bid ready, and then I had to up my bid with like 45 seconds left, because I'm like, what? This card's going to go for what? And of course I lost.
Seems to be a trend as of late.
So, but I like from a TD perspective, very, very picky, like very, there's Flawless recently coming out. Flawless keeps getting listed quite a bit. Nice cards. They're all on card. But like some of the prices, I'm just going, no. So I don't think there will be any more TD purchases between now and the end of the year. It's going to be stuff for my boys. So, and I'm okay with that. So, and why of all times does Dave decide to disappear when Vinny is not in his talkative moods?
I'll talk. So there was hints of this earlier in the year. I have started the journey to obtain the whole Young Guns from 90 to present. It's going to take me a long time, but I'm going to do it, or take a shot at it at least. I'm going to try to go team by team, get as many as I can, then say these are the real tough ones that are going to take me time, and put them on a separate list. Go to the next team. So I started with the Penguins. So they have 68 Young Guns through Series 1, 22, 23. That includes SPA updates and all that stuff. So I'm going to work on those 68, get as many as I can get for decent amounts of money. Then when it starts talking big time money, then move over to the Red Wings, start cheap on ComC and grab 25-cent cards, 30-cent cards, 60-cent cards, and just take my time and go through it. It's going to be a task, but I want to take a shot at it. Like I said, I got to have something long-term goal. So that's it.
Well, and for you, I mean, it's always going to be growing.
Yeah.
So it's a daunting task, and I applaud you for. And this is something that you and I've talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not something that you recently
No.
decided on, even during national.
Yeah.
This is something that you and I have talked about. It's been on your mind for a while, and it's an impressive goal to try and achieve. At some point, I know how you are. You will get there. You will find the right opportunities to knock out the big guys. But it's going to be one of those in which you have to put things into perspective. It's like, okay, this year I'm going Crosby.
Yeah.
And for the next couple months, you may be Mario-less for those couple months.
It probably won't be Mario-less. It'll probably be anything else. This ain't happening.
So
I'll always keep the funds there for Mario, but when you got to buy the Crosby, so Crosby has two cards. He has his Young Gun in a checklist. Malkin has his Young Gun in a checklist. Fleury, Young Gun in a checklist. So that's 6. The 7th one's Letang. The 8th is some random dude that you can't find anywhere. And the 9th guy is just the one that just came out, 22, 23. So I'm not paying whatever it is. I'll wait till they hit ComC and just pop him off. And that'll be that.
or doesn't Lafreniere have the regular and a checklist too?
Probably anybody who's usually the first round draft pick has a checklist with it too. And then as far as the other thing is, I want to go back and try to get a lot of either the rookie cards. I want to get the rookie card and the first year card of the Penguins. So like Paul Coffey. Here's Paul Coffey's rookie with the Oilers. Here's Paul Coffey's first card with the Penguins.
Gotcha.
And that kind of stuff. Like Brian Rust doesn't have a young gun. He only has a future watch to $9.99. I want to get him. Jake Gensel has a young gun, but it's a rookie year card. I want one of his rookies, so I'm gonna have to find it somewhere. So I'm looking at all that kind of stuff. I'm probably gonna take a lot of backseat to basketball, football, and baseball. Probably are gonna become less of my focus, except for doing little stuff that I want to do. But like I said, I have no urgency to finish it. I want to. Some of them, like I think there's 89 of them for Philadelphia. Some of them have a ton of so like I said, there was 68 for Penguins. Some of them have 100 because there's been years that they've got a crap load of new talent coming through.
Right.
The Penguins were good, and they're not getting all those draft picks, so their young guns are less and less. And then,
well, you're gonna have fun trying to get Bedard with the way he's been playing already.
We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes.
Well, I probably shouldn't say this, but on the flip side, if given opportunities, you also have things that you can trade to be able to acquire some of these.
And then you have, like you had Lafreniere came out and didn't do squat. He's going to be a decent hockey player. You got this guy coming out of the gate pretty hot. Wonder if he falls into a slump. Wonder if all this media finally gets to him. What goes on there? Next year, they're already touting some kid from Boston College as the big pick next year. Is that going to warrant $120, $130, $150 a box? Or are they going to crash? What's going to happen? There's not going to be a generational talent every year. There's going to be these guys that come in like Tage Thompson, and all of a sudden you're like, so I bought boxes of Synergy, I think you're 17, 18. They were $35 a box. Now they're $200 a box because his rookie's in there. Think about it. Not every guy that you think is going to be a mover and a shaker is your first overall draft pick.
Well, it's the same thing in football. It's the same thing in baseball. It's the same thing in basketball. That drives the early sale type stuff. But depending on performance is what ultimately determines what the final price point ends up at.
Mac Jones.
So it's, with this rookie crop for football, it's going to be more quarterbacks. Therefore, it's going to push some of the prices up on some of the mid to higher end products. But let's face it, none of them are extreme superstars. They're showing promise. CJ Stroud is doing great, considering playing for Houston. And then you got the guy who freaking the kid who's playing in Chicago for Fields. Like I've never heard of the guy. Yeah, never even heard of the kid. Is that the second coming of Tom Brady?
Would they say he was the first D2 guy to win an NFL game since John Kitna? I think that's what they said. I don't know if I took a screenshot of that or not.
But, it's football is tough anyways, because everybody focuses on quarterbacks. Everybody knows this, but that's not the end all be all. But that's where all the value sits when it comes to new products and the rookie crop. But happens every year.
There's a lot of talk at that Bowman University that Ryan was talking about, that they're breaking out like it's going out of style to get those rookies out of there. But then when they get their first NFL cards, what are those cards going to be worth? Are they gonna start treating Bowman University like Bowman draft for baseball?
They'll kind of, but see it with football. Like those are still college. And the only way that they could change kind of the designation is if somehow they start putting like the XRC association to them.
Yeah.
But they're not, because it's college. It's not the same when it was USFL and you had, Jim Kelly and Reggie White, those guys playing in the USFL, they were playing technically professional football. Different league, but they were playing professional football. So those being XRCs makes sense. These kids are still college.
Yeah.
They're college cards.
RC. Pre-rookie.
They're college. Yeah, they're college cards. That's all they are. And the big push for Bowman University, of course, is Caleb Williams, Deion Sanders' kid. Dave, I know you're there because you're doing comments. Is Bo Nix in this year's Bowman University, or do you know?
I think so. That Penix for Washington has their quarterback that used to play at Indiana. The guy from North Carolina, that Drake May. The cat for Miami, the quarterback down there. Florida State's quarterback, he's in it. Quinn Ewers has been in how much stuff already? I know I've seen him.
He would probably be in it.
And then I know the Leaf, the exotic or whatever, or one of those types of products. He's been in that. So,
but I mean, it's got some early push because, and there's speculation. Caleb Williams, does he come out? Sanders is the same way. Like it's all about where they fall in the draft, which ultimately would dictate when they show up, so to speak. I still think Caleb Williams goes number one, regardless if he comes out this year or next year. Doesn't matter. And by this year and next year, I mean draft years. I want to specify so everybody's like, what do you mean this year? Upcoming draft.
23.
Which would be. But like the product is loaded when it comes to superstar future NFL potential. And it's a cool concept. They're nice cards. But it's still college. And that's why I say you can't designate them as an XRC because it's still college. So the value in those is going to be cheaper than it would for their first NFL cards.
Press pass too.
Yeah, because you've got press piss and shit, Sage hit. Press piss, I think, has disappeared. Sage still does their stuff. But it's still college. And college cards don't designate, they're not rookie cards. If they come out the same year in which they're drafted, there are people who will designate them as rookie cards, which they're not wrong, but they're still college. Like Bowman University are guys that are going to be coming into the later or into the draft the following year. So, like, I don't see how anybody can call them rookies. Maybe I'm wrong. But came out this year. Still playing in college. They haven't been drafted yet.
It's the old pre-rookie card or whatever you want to call it.
And that's the only thing that I could think that you could call them. Because they don't designate. It's not, you can't give them an XRC designation.
No.
Because USFL are the only ones that have ever gotten the XRC designation, if I'm not mistaken, because they were playing professional football.
Mm.
They weren't playing NFL, but they were playing professional football. And I would think the same thing would apply if, like, a Canadian League guy got brought in. Like, that could be considered an XRC. Stuke, are you talking about Bowman U? I don't think Bowman U has rookie card designations on them.
No. Yeah, because XRC, and I'm trying to remember when that like term sort of died, because it was mostly like for the traded sets for the baseball. Yep. I'm going through my brain and looking at like the back at the 84 update. That was always XRC for like Puckett, Saberhagen, Good, and Clemens out of that set. And same with McGuire for the 85 tops. That wasn't quote unquote a rookie, that was the XRC. Which it should have been notated as like a different, like a pre-rookie, but what do you can't. It's almost like we need a rookie card specialist in here to divvy up all these conundrums we face.
Well, we always talk about it though. Football is easier than it is baseball.
God, like all I can think of. The 96 maybe tops traded. But no, it wouldn't be traded. It would be 93 with Hamilton.
I was too busy looking at Chrome University for this year. Yeah, none of these that I'm seeing have any rookie card designation, which I would, like I said, which I wouldn't think they would.
It's like I can remember 86 tops traded. Again, 85 tops traded had, I think, one card of consequence in it. And I don't remember like a Harold Reynolds rookie or what. But like 86 had like the Bonds, Canseco, I don't know if McGriff. I don't know if he was in there or not. Again, not having a Beckett in front of me, but trying to go off memory. 87. God, I couldn't tell you what the hell is even an 87 tops traded. 88 again though, Ventura.
Yeah, 86 Tops definitely has XRC designations.
Oh yeah, I remember that plain as day.
Yeah, Will Clark was also in the 86 set.
Okay, Bo must have been in there too. As Stuke has said, but 87 have no clue. 88 would have been the USA team with Ventura. I think Billy Bean was in there. And again, I know there's others. 89. I don't remember Griffey getting the XRC. '90. Scott Erickson, I don't think had the XRC on his. 91 did because Giambi was Team USA. 92 was Garcia Parra. 93 was Helton. 94. God, was that? No, that's 95 with the Beltran, Juan LeBron error card. 94, I don't know, was that Canerico?
Are you still on the traded?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Let's see.
90 had no USA cards at all. So I bought a plethora of those trying to get that Scott Erickson. And he was slightly popular up here.
I was trying to look through 94 real quick. So far, I'm only seeing rookie card designations right now.
Yeah, because I don't remember USA in there.
There's Ben Grieve.
Ooh.
Which would have been, a huge card back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
Chanho Park.
Ah, yes.
I was trying to just look for some of the bigger names that I can remember.
Because I remember that from the Score rookie trade at the Chandler Park.
Yeah, because most of these guys that I'm seeing in the Tops traded set are nobody of consequence. There's Canerco.
Puckett and Saberhagen are the other two from that set, Baz. I know that because that was usually the first set I looked at every Beckett as a youth. That 84 Fleer update, and always wondering why are these cards so fucking much? It's Fleer. It's a mid 80s Fleer. Still need Gooden, Strawberry, Clemens too. Clemens was in there as well. So you had Clemens, Saberhagen, Strawberry, Gooden, Puckett. Those are the five that carried it. With Puckett and Clemens always being 320s, 300, 320s, 280, somewhere in 350, 300, 350, 350. I mean, they were always pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah, and good luck trying to actually get a freaking traded set for cheap. $1,000, I think, nowadays.
I've got one, not the set, but I've got one card out of there. That's eventually a set I will put together because that literally is the kid card set.
The 84 Flair update?
I've got the Puckett. So and that
85 Fleer is a set on my list only because at one point in time I had the Clemens and the Puckett. They both were in the worst condition possible because back in those days I didn't take care of my shit. But I remember those 2 cards very well.
Mm-hmm.
I do have the $85 set though, and the bricks are still in the cellophane.
Yeah, because it used to come in 8 or 10.
Yep.
It's almost like the team sets for minor leagues.
Yep. I haven't even bothered to. It's sitting now over here on the set shelf. But yep, all of it's still, because the box itself is not sealed,
Mm-hmm.
but all the bricks are still sealed.
You got it from Don West, I bet.
No, I did not. That I did not. But on that note, we are coming up on the 2.5 hour mark. Let me do is the game over?
I'm sure.
Oh, it's 4-2 Arizona going into the bottom of the 9th. Oh, Mike O and freaking Ed are like
Pins and needles.
Yep. 85 Leaf. Okay. Such simple designs in those years, though. So simple.
Yeah, not like not like now where everything's so busy.
That's pretty much that's what it seems like. All right, Dave. Wrap us up, man.
Well, thank you to Ryan, Neil coming on, finally tucking that portion of the national away. Again, got some good insight again from both of them. If you haven't followed them, if you haven't checked out their site, RBICru7 is the store name. RBICru7 Sports Cards. Just west of. Trying to remember where exactly it is. It's outside of St. Louis, but I can picture where it's at. So I've been there. The brain is a puddle of soupy pudding that maybe Bill Cosby got into. I want to say it's not St. Charles either, but just outside of St. Louis there. O'Fallon maybe. Kicking it with the crew. That's their podcast. I know it's on Spotify. Don't mind Tyson, especially when he talks. If you could have an auto mute, that'd be great. But so thank them taking the time, because I know Ryan, he said he's there boogieing out of town Thursday, so come on for a little bit. That was very kind, very much appreciated. Thank you all for listening, chiming in.
Even with the ever important Game 7 going on.
Yeah. Keeping a conversation going, asking questions again. With those 2 characters, they will answer. They're not gonna duck around the question. It might be a little political in some of their answers, but again, when you own and run a business and that's your livelihood, you gotta sometimes tiptoe. But they're not gonna tiptoe like through the tulips. They might walk briskly instead of tumble through the tulips. So thank them again for being on. Next week will be interesting. No, just think of the day.
I'm aware, but I didn't know if that's the route you were taking or if there was something else that, like, I was unaware of.
Not yet. Not yet. I don't know. We'll see. See what I can put together. So, with that, dislike, don't comment, unsubscribe, watch the games, grade your base, all that stuff. All the fun and excitement of cards. So, for Vinny, we do what we can, Baz. We do what we can. I mean, these guys are going to be straight shooters. They're not going to be the usual. Give the canned responses. We don't like that. Obviously, we're not part of that game. So, if you want that, get ready in June, July, whatever the J month is, January. Get ready in January for that YouTube Hall of Fame contest. You want canned responses? Campbell ain't got nothing on them. And if you like bad audio, I'll send you to another new YouTube channel where Bob Lewis can maybe recommend. Arizona goes to the World Series too, so there you go. Get those Corbin Carroll cards ready. So, for Vinny, for Steve, I'm Dave. This has been the Instant Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, it's a wonderful hobby. Friendships that you forge along the way, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.